We are back for the build-up to Global Champions League Round 2. We are in Riesenbeck. The sun is shining. The German countryside is playing our host, and we are getting ready for the second half of the day. Welcome back. An entertaining and intriguing opening round of Global Champions League. And we now get ready to take a look at what's going to happen for GCL Round 2. There are going to be a handful of changes that take place. In case you aren't aware, from GCL Round 1 to GCL Round 2, managers have the opportunity to provide different riders, to provide different horses. They can make strategic changes between the two rounds to try and improve their overall performance come the end of the night. Our man on the ground is Dan Strange. Let's go to him for the first time for GCL Round 2 and get an understanding as to how some of those changes look. Dan, let's talk about some changes that have or have not been made. What stands out for you on that start list?
Paris Panthers are the only team completely unchanged, so the bottom team in the GCL change nothing. There are 7 teams that change both horses. That includes Valkenswaard United, the league leaders in the GCL, and CanStars, who lead, of course, after round 1 here. Shanghai Swans going so well this season. They rest Christian Arman in round 2. They bring in Katrina Romberg on Kuma 5. She comes in for round 2. Stockholm Hearts, not a massive surprise here. Malin Bayer-Johnson brings in H&M Indiana. That's their only horse change. Prague Lions, well, they can't change their riders because FMS and Niels Brunsils are the only riders here. They do change horses. Origi van der Vosberg and Job, who won, of course, Job in Valkenswaard, come in. For the bottom team from round 1, New York Empire, Dennis Lynch is retained and he stays on Nespresso. Mikey Pender changes, unsurprisingly, onto HHS Los Angeles, which is quite apt, with us all off to New York next week. Those, Mark, are the changes for round 2.
All right, Dan Strange, thank you very much. I'm trying to see what's happening with the coursework that's behind us right now. Officially underway. Dan Strange, thank you very much. We're going to have a word with some of these riders. We're also going to try and bring some of the managers in. I think that maybe Geert Gulliksen is going to be available later on. The Scandinavian Vikings will be delighted with where they find themselves. As it stands, 3rd on the provisional rankings, only behind the Valkenswaard United team and only behind the CanStars. So, is there an opportunity here this afternoon for the riders from the Scandinavian Vikings to make up some serious ground? That is an opportunity. But based on the virtual rankings, we love to play the virtual rankings game. If things were to end right now, if there was no second round of GCL, what then would the table look like? Well, Valkenswaard United, who are currently in 2nd place, would now see themselves stay in 1st place. The CanStars, who lead here today, would take maximum points and climb into 2nd place. While the Shanghai Swans, who had a rather heavy penalty count, I'm afraid will not take home a huge amount of points and will therefore drop down to 3rd. There will be changes for the Istanbul Warriors and for the Saint-Tropez Pirates, who would both climb, and there would be more movement on the 2nd page as well of the 2nd page of riders. There'll be a lot of movement there as well based on what has taken place thus far. Mexico, drop. New York Empire, drop. Rome Gladiators and the Stockholm Hearts, who continue to struggle quite remarkably in 2025, would drop down as well. They would then only be a handful of points ahead of the Paris Panthers, who find themselves in last place. And as it stands right now, thanks to the new rules that have now been introduced in 2025, the team that is at the bottom of the table come the end of the season, at the end of Riyadh later on this year in the finals, the team that is in last place will not go to the GC Prague playoffs. That is the big consequence of finishing in last place at the end of the season. The Paris Panthers are fighting for their lives, and somehow the Stockholm Hearts have now been brought into that conversation as well. A team that once fought at the top of the championship for a GCL title is now somehow fighting to try and get itself into the GCL Super Cup quarterfinals at the end of the year. That now is amazing, how quickly the wheel can turn in the world of show jumping, how quickly things can change in the world of show jumping. We'll see if we can get some thoughts from some of the riders. Once again, back down to Dan Strange. Let's get some thoughts. Marcus Eining, a local legend, a local hero, standing by with Dan Strange.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. Marcus Eining, local hero, local legend. Mark has just called you. We all know that's true. Clear in round one. Just jump back to round one briefly. How did the team see it? It was good for you? Was it perfect? Obviously not perfect, but was it good?
Was nearly perfect. Was a shame with Hansi, he had one down, but we're still in the lead with some others and still the chance on the podium. That was very important. I was very happy with my round and I think Priam showed that he deserved the clear round.
Priam de Rosset just keeps getting better and better.
I don't know if he keeps getting better and better, but I think for us he's a very safe horse for the teams. Mostly he's clear or he's 4, so that is very important that you be consistent over the whole year.
You bring 2 new horses in for round 2. Just tell everyone at home who comes in and what we can expect.
Yeah, Hansi is riding Elysium, actually his best horse, and he also really likes the grass rings. I have Coolio. Also my best one, and yeah, I hope for a second round.
It was a difficult first round for a lot of teams. Surely now it's about potentially playing it safe to make sure you maximise the points, get on the podium, even if that means maybe not winning. Is that fair?
Yeah, even this place is even between 1 and 8 is important to get the points, to be in the all-over standing, to get some money. So that is also very important. Cannot be always on the podium, but that you don't lose too many points if you're too far behind.
Well, top of the table, Valkenswaard United. Let's hope for you, Marcus. You're on top again at the end of round 2. Thank you for your time, Marcus Eining. Good luck, Valkenswaard United. Mark, back to you in the studio.
It's not just me, by the way. It's practically the entire show jumping world that would identify Marcus Eining as one of their favorite riders of all time, I assure you. The young spring chicken that is Geert Gulliksen just came running through this giant grass ring to join us after his course walk. Welcome to the show, Geert. You still look very sharp, very young, very quick on the feet there. I was impressed. Athletic.
I'm only 65, so...
Young man at heart.
And my dad is 99, he's 100 in 2 months, so...
Really?
So I have a long way to go.
That is some good family genes. 99. Wow. All right. Well, that is something to aspire to. You've just finished the course walk. Talk to me about what you've just been able to go and do there. What are we looking at for round 2?
I think it's fair course. And, you know, if you take in consideration the ground is a little bit soft, it's actually holding up better than I thought, you know, and... But they've been very clever the way they build the triple combination. The oxy going out is not so wide, it's tall, it's 156 high, but it's like a double rack, they say here in Germany. But it looks it's fair, you know, and the rest is also, I think, a fair course, you know. And you have like 1 to 2. Okay, you can see different. It's a long way, 9, 10, whatever, you know. And the same from 3 to 4 is quite a bend to the combination. Then I think it's a 6 short one to the wall and quite normal 5 then after to the oxa, and then you have a long way to double verticals, which is fine, and then you have 6 strides there to the water, from the triple butt to the water. Then you had 9 or 10, I would say, outside to the oxa, and then you have the plank and the oxa on its own in the end.
I'm sure you're very happy with GCL round 1. Again, just to remind you that Scandinavian Vikings, currently the 3rd best team. There will be 3rd last to go. Were you surprised by some of the scores you saw in GCL round 1? Often we're looking for double clears and clean sheets, and now here you are on 5 and potentially staring down at a podium in the early stage. Were you surprised by what you saw in GCL round 1?
No, but you can see that sometimes, you know, when it comes pressure on, and, you know, like it's all different type of riders. These old riders with younger horses and young riders with less experience. You know, you see that all the time. And the course is...
Penda jumping an 8-year-old today.
Yeah.
An 8-year-old.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. So, I mean, these courses are not easy. They're very hard to jump, both first and the second round. So you need good riders and good horses.
Talk to me about round 2. I see a horse change. What was the thinking behind that, to have you to make the horse change?
No, because we have now 3 shows in a row. So he's going to jump... that one in the Grand Prix tomorrow, and the one here right now, Cannon Jr., is going to go to New York, fly tomorrow together with Niels Horse normally, and they have the same team there next week, you know. So that's the plan, you know. So
Talk to me about next week in New York. Everyone very excited to get back to New York, to have the show back on USA. It does take a lot of planning. It takes a lot of pre-planning. Balancing Riesenbeck when you know you have a long-distance flight next week. How has that been for the team? It's obviously part of strategic thinking that is required in the GCL.
This has been very hard and to get it together, you know. But luckily, you know, the rider cooperates. You know, they're like Neil and Jure. They're fantastic human beings, you know, who's doing very good for the team. They're team people, you know, they want to work for the team. So that's why we agreed that they do the team here. And those horses jumping here, which jump in New York, they fly in the morning to New York, so they will be there tomorrow afternoon. And then they can rest for a few days before they jump there again. And that's why, like Kilman Sit, you know, from Your Feeling, will jump the Grand Prix tomorrow normally.
Okay. Expecting a lot of clears in round 2, or we're going to see fences fall?
Yeah, I would say, I thought the first round relatively was probably could be more difficult, you know, like, but I think the second round is fair. Not fair, it's not unfair, the first one, but I think it's a nice course. I think you will see more clears, but you know, like when you have double verticals like here, you have the vertical after the triple bar with a big water, very big water behind, which drag the horses deep, you know. I think there will come faults everywhere, you know, and when the pressure comes in, you know, yeah, it's going to be excitement.
All right, let's see how it goes. Hugh Gullikson, thank you very much. Best of luck to the Scandinavian Vikings. In great shape at the end of GCL round 1. Let's go back and get started. GCL round 2 is next.
And welcome back as we get ready for the second round of the leg 11 of 16 Global Champions League competitions here on the latest stop of the Longines Global Champions Tour in Riesenbeck. Thankfully, sunny skies, cloud around, but thankfully we've kept the rain away. But we're set for an important competition here. There's confirmation of weather this afternoon, partly cloudy, 18 degrees, and thankfully dry. So the way it works, we have an individual phase because there's a bit at stake here, because there's obviously qualification for the big Grand Prix tomorrow for the individual riders, and it also links to the second round of the Global Champions League, which is set nicely after the first round. And that's a lot at play here, and I have to say, I think there's a lot at stake, because it's been quite difficult to get double clears and clear rounds at a premium. But Frank Rothenberger is a canny, clever course designer, and he is responsible for the courses which proved quite a test first round. And now for the second round at 160. So it's raising the bar here in Riesenbeck, and an intriguing looking course, I think, has been set for all and sundry here to negotiate. As we look at one or two of the riders as they contemplate what's in front of them here this afternoon, but we have, I think, 19 going forward first up, and then it is into the meat of the Global Champions League, which sees, if you're just joining us, the Cannes Stars leading the way after an excellent clear from Katrien Eckermann. And there we can see the sunlit scene here. Well, this is the starting order for the individuals. Jack Whittaker, who did so well in the first round, he's of the Global Champions League, went clear. He's on a horse appropriately named Jack. And there are some of the others, all looking to try and get through to the second round, to the Grand Prix. Now, the competition, Global Champions League competition, will start with Dennis Lynch and Michael Pender. They unfortunately prop up the table as we go in reverse order. So they'll be hoping for a better showing this afternoon, but I think it didn't quite go as they had intended. But that's all to contemplate between now and the start of that. But obviously we'll be intrigued how this course rides. The first course, it was all about the doubles. I wonder whether it might be all about the treble here, and some of the others testing fences and elements to the course here today. The track riding pretty well given the rain, and all looked to be a very fair test. So they're getting ready. It'll be first in will be Stefan Engbers. He'll be first in here for this class. The German rider will be on the 12-year-old Baju NRW. Music playing, and in comes Stefan. And it will be quite interesting to see how it pans out. And I'm sure there'll be lots of riders watching on to get a clue as to how this course might be riding and where the possible dangers are. But as I say, Frank Rothenberg is very clever at just presenting enough challenges all around. There's no one area that provides a let up or is always the main element. So let's get ready. As looking around the course, the stand's getting pretty full now for this class. And here we go. And also just bearing in mind that separate from the Global Champions League, it's all about finishing in the top 40 to qualify for the Longines Global Champions Tour Grand Prix. Well, we're on our way. First fence is at 155 at upright, and easing round to a fence for the 160 spread. The Longines fence back on itself to an upright at 160. Then the combination, the treble, 2 strides between parts 1 and 2, then 1 strides up with a 150 spread, 153 hideout at the final part, which Stefan has negotiated. Back on himself for 5, which is a spread of 160, 150. Then that wall upright at 160. 7 is a spread, but he had a fence down, and then comes round. That's 9. Then the Liverpool, the upright, and has that down too, which is at quite a test. And now back on himself for the final fence. Well, here it's coming to the final fence, the Longines. And the fence 13, the Longines fence, and a couple of fences down. So he's inside the time, which is 84 seconds, but what he's got to be keeping an eye on, will he manage to get into the top 40? So it could be anxious waits for Stefan. You're really probably wanting to be making sure you need 4 faults, almost at worst, to guarantee your spot in. But as we look at just brushing that Liverpool with a big water tray. And next up, and he doesn't look entirely enamoured of that, does Stefan? But we move on to Harry Smulders now, and he's got his 14-year-old chestnut, Bingo de Park. To say, there are one or two threatening clouds lurking in the distance, but hopefully they're just lurking in the distance. So, on his way. All about doing enough to get through, although there is a prize money at stake here as well, and ranking points. And the final part of the combination comes down. Going diagonally back across the arena to that wall, dominating the center of the arena. Through the double at 8A and B. Just one stride. High in to two uprights, then coming down the side. This is the fence that caught Stefan out. That has caught Harry Smulders out. And coming round to the final fence. And another one who has had 8 faults, Harry Smulders, although a slightly quicker time. But maybe already you can sense that Liverpool, the water tray, number 10, 2 rounds, 2 down. Next up from Germany is Marie Liege, and she is riding Ballerina NRW. And this is a 10-year-old grey, as we just look over what happened to Harry. That fence coming down. So can we get Marie Claire representing Germany? Right, approaching the first fence now. Riding in a positive fashion as she comes to the treble. Sweetly through that. Now this line of fence is slightly on the diagonal. That includes this wall in the middle part as they come across the arena. She's had a bit of that wall down. Now to the double with these 160 uprights, one stride. Three out of three. Now to the final fence, which is a Longines fence. Quickest time So, with 78. But 8 faults.
So having done clear in one form of motion, they come to individual this time around, and it's a pair of Jack. Jack with Jack.
Now we've got Jack Whittaker on his way, riding Jack. He was clear in the first round of the Global Champions League on a different horse, but a very good round it was too. Dad Michael's here as well. This Jack being a 11-year-old. Ooh, final part of that comes down. Staying to the double at 8. Well, can he be the first to negotiate this fence? Well, he can. So staying at 4 faults. Oh, no, not anymore. That Global Champions fence coming down, so he's on 8. And will he have done enough time-wise? 79.65. But 8 faults, and we've had 4 rounds, 4 8 faults. Well, next up from Brazil, we have Yuri Mansour coming into the arena. We've got 19 riders going through in this particular phase. Here's Yuri Mansour. Always spot him with his distinctive yellow jacket. Looking good at present. Well, what sort of mark is he going to set and get an indication of what is a reasonable time? And this is going to be a well-judged round from Yuri Mansour that will put him into the lead. The first rider to go clear here, and will guarantee his participation in the big class tomorrow. Encanto VDL putting in a very tidy round of show jumping. Don't think rattled any of the fences here. Made it look very easy. So next up though is Cian O'Connor. Yuri's happy. Cian O'Connor He's riding Kentucky TN, a 10-year-old bay. Always wants to be competitive. Oh dear, down goes that Mercedes fence. Might be starting to feel a bit annoyed, but so far since that fence down, that early fence, it's been very well executed. So for Cian O'Connor, first rider to finish with just 4 penalties, so will, I'm pretty sure, secure his spot in tomorrow's Grand Prix. Time is pretty reasonable, 82.15, and Yuri Mansour with the quickest, just the 1 clear round so far. Didn't have many clear rounds this morning in the first class in the Global Champions League. I think it might have just been 7. So next up, Gavin Stunt riding Vida Loca Z, this chestnut 9-year-old. So it'll be interesting to see how, and unfortunately, the mare's had the first fence down. So it's going to feel like a long way. That is a 155 upright, that first fence. So it's not a gimme. Going a long way well now since that blunder at the first. Flicks it, but no damage done. The Global Champions fence. That's number 11, back to the Swan fence. And then this is a little run to the final fence, which is the Longines. Oh, and that will be annoying. First and last fence downs for the experienced Frenchman. And so on 8, decent time, 74.56. And he'll be sweating and wondering whether that's going to be enough. My gut feeling is it probably will be, but there's a lot of combinations to go between now. There's 32 obviously going in the Global Champions League, and then there's a few more to go here. So next up, Hassan Senturk, who competed in the first round of the Global Champions this morning, or I should say early afternoon, and Hassan is riding No Comment Decepton, a 12-year-old bay stallion. Full forks in the Global Champions League this morning, riding Avantois. His team did all right with just 8, and the 8s will be thinking they're competitive. Ooh, came down steep on that first part, but then recovered well to get through the next two efforts. Just have to keep a slight eye on the time. Looks as if he'll be on the edge. Oh, maybe not. The time allowed is 84. So I think we're going to get some time faults here. Yes, we are. So actually getting another one is going to end up with 8 time faults. And that will possibly feel a little bit costly because that puts him into a provisional 8th spot now. So it is that time. Well, next up, as we just look at where it went wrong for Hassan in that first part of the treble, I should say, coming down steep on it and brushing the pole down. Hannes Alman is next into the arena, the young, talented German. He's on Kayadina, 10-year-old grey. To prove that he's one of the best of the young German riders. This horse, Kayadino, comfortably through the combination. Something spooked Kayadino there, coming to the double. Not sure what it was. Coming out of the shadows, something just heading towards the hospitality area, but something distracted Kayadino. Seemed to be going well enough, so that's going to be costly for Hannes Alman. Can't think what it would have been. That will be disappointing. So not only will there be 4 faults, there's going to be time faults as they come to the penultimate fence. Swan fence stands at 160, and so that will put him in 9th spot. So maybe chances of appearing tomorrow may not be the case here. That refusal at the double out of nowhere, really. Not just looking at what happened there, sort of completely out of the blue, really, as to why the horse seemed to be reluctant to approach that double. But next up we have the South African Oliver Lazarus, who's spent quite a lot of time actually being based here, so this will feel very familiar territory for the South African. He's riding Belthargo PS, an 11-year-old bay gelding. Did that easily. settled through that double well, did Oliver. This meaty spread of 2 meters there. Flicks that through. Well, we have our second clear for the South African. It seems to be a distinct possibility, and yes, and actually will come up, and the team look happy because he's come up with the quickest time so far. Definitely feels like there are a good number of clear rounds here, because it seems to be a very fair, forgiving track at this stage, but people are making mistakes. But 2 clears so far, and that was done with the minimum of effort for Oliver Lazarus. Next up, Emmanuel Camili is into the arena, and Chaco's Gold Star. And he had 4 faults in the first round of the Global Champions League with this horse, but is a Longines Global Champions Tour Grand Prix winner. He's got his golden ticket anyway to the final. And such a prized ticket for the final in Prague, but small matter of trying to win another big class with this horse. 13-year-old takes a shortish turn to the Mercedes. Now onto the treble. She makes light work of that. Making light work of the first parts of this course. Got to keep it going. We know how talented she is. Fence caught the first 3 riders out, but now never looked like being hit again. 2 to go. And this could be a very nice round indeed. Pings the last, and well inside the time, so clear round number 3. Oliver Lazarus, Emmanuel Camili and Yuri Mansour, the trio who have gone clear with a time of 78.89, putting him into a provisional second. That's obviously going to change significantly, I would assume. But Chaco's Gold Star never looked like having a fence down. Such a talented horse. Now, popular figure here, been having a very good season, and it's Richard Vogel from Germany who's coming in. He's riding a 9-year-old called Levi Nosar. So how will this horse cope with the demands at 160 as a 9-year-old? Shortest route to 3. clumsy into that. Quickish time, so little anxious moment there. He looks up and sees is it all intact, but puts him into provisional 4, 75.07. One of the quicker times, actually the second quickest time so far. Kevin Stowell actually went quickest, but had 8 down, 8 faults. That's where I just got it all wrong. The sort of stride just took off a little too early and wasn't able to recover. Rider number 13 coming in this individual phase of this Global Champions League class. And it's Christian Aumann coming in. I think he was a bit frustrated earlier on riding for the Shanghai Swans was Christian. Riding Clint Rexo Z had 8 faults, much to many people's surprise. He's not jumping in the second round, but I'm sure he'll be looking for a fine round from his horse, Dagenix 2000. 11-year-old bay. Really sent the bricks flying there on the wall. It's on 4. .17 the time there for Christian Aumann, and the second best 4 penalties. Richard Vogel went round to 75.07, but still that's where the problems came. Just back feet just sent the top bricks crashing to the ground. That fence, not inviting fence coming off the turn, and hasn't caused any problems so far. And next up is Gerrit Nieberg, another of the German riders here. Not surprisingly, plenty of them here. Riding this skewbald Ping Pong van de Lendermile. A really delightful afternoon now, no hint of any rain. All the dark clouds seem to have headed off. Minimum fuss and bother through that. Very calmly ridden. Oh, Donna Christian Aumann, not quite as many bricks going flying. But the second part of that double at 160 has come down. Not too. I've seen a refusal there. That was Hannes Almond, but I think that's the first person to suffer a knockdown. Well done. Completes the job in hand. Forget it, Nieberg. And ping pong van der Lentemal. Just the 5 more, I should say, to go in this individual section. Just the merest of touches on the way through on that double, but enough for it to roll out of the cup. Next up from Belgium, it is Annelies Volsemans, and she is riding her 12-year-old bay gelding Trezeguet. To the wall, and that's all right, pops that, and on his way. And that is easy enough. And coming to the water tray. And another one. It sort of creeps up on you everywhere. There just seems to be a fair smattering all over the place. I think it's going to make it quite fine games in the Global Champions League. That's why I think any team who has a double clear, and they may be on 8 faults, they could end up in pole position. It just has a set up very nicely, as we're seeing here, but 8 for Annelies Volsemans. So that's 8 penalties, puts her into provisional 12th. So not sure what that will mean yet in terms of tomorrow's qualification. Next up, though, it is Gregory Wathelet coming in. As he moves forward, and he is riding Double Jeu de Onvolt. So, on his way. Just the 3 clears so far. And it will stay at 3 clears. As I say, there's no one area that seems to be catching the riders out. Down to the double. And now moves on to 8, 9 and 10, I should say. Well, it's a good quick round. Could be one of the quickest. Got away with that one. That looked like it leapt out of the cup, but it's come back in. 77.00 and 4 penalties for the Belgian. And into a provisional 5th. We've got 3 more combinations to come forward in this individual stage. Geoffrey Puck, Koen Verrieke and David Will are the ones to come forward. And just didn't get the elevation, so the front pole comes down to 1 stride between B and C in that 4 fence combination. And can't miss him in his very bright green, I think, coat. Equitron Naxel the 5th is the horse that he's riding. 12-year-old chestnut. And here he goes. Shadows creeping across the arena here in the afternoon sunshine in Riesenbeck. To this wall, which stands at 160. The spread of 2 meters, but now just rattles that. Will we get clear around number 4 and also with a respectable time? And we are, because coming home in 77.07 means that Gerfred Puck has got the quickest of the clear rounds so far. 4 clear rounds there have been. Oliver Lazarus, Emmanuel Camili and Yuri Mansour, but that is the quickest of those clear rounds. So be very pleased with that. But be interesting to see how it pans out. We've seen a round of 74 from Kevin Stoddard, who's always quick anyway. But it shows what is possible and could set up, as I say, a really intriguing Global Champions League. Now, 2 more to go here before we have a little 10-minute break and then get ready for the 32 combinations to come forward for the Global Champions League round 2. Perfect afternoon for the crowd to enjoy world-class show jumping in this delightful arena, heartbed of show jumping. The horse matters here. So he's on his way, is Koen. Comes through the treble without any alarms, does the Belgian. Just having to urge the horse in, and that you could sense that wasn't quite getting the response he wanted, and hence the reason why fence 7 ends on the ground. Big spread. Oops. Not proving to be the easiest ride, but he's only had one fence down. This 9-year-old still maybe showing a little bit of inexperience. Coming to the final fence here. And not bad at all, 77.04, another good time. And for a 9-year-old, that's encouraging effort for the Belgian. And now we come to the final rider, as we just look at where the problem came. He just lost a bit of momentum going to it, had to regroup, and that was probably down to a little bit of inexperience at this level. But jumping at 160 is always a big step up. But David Will is next in on Zinadream, the 11-year-old bay. We'll bring the curtain down on this individual section. So here we go. And that is always a ball. Well, this will feel like a long way home for this 11-year-old. 2 down in the first 2 fences. The horse is sharpening up his act now. Well, not straight forward. Another one goes. Well, we started with 3 people having that down in a row. Well, we're going to end this individual section with a rider knocking that down, and the faults tally is accumulating. And it's not getting much better, sadly, for David. And another one down as well. So rather despondent look in the area there, as that round didn't quite go to plan. So unfortunately finishes 19th of the 19 who've gone here. So we are getting ready for the Global Champions League. All to play for. Can the Stars hold on to win again in Riesenbeck? Make sure you join us for the conclusion of the Global Champions League here in Riesenbeck. Welcome to Riesenbeck in Germany for leg 11 of 17 for the second round. And here we are in Riesenbeck. And it is a glorious day, a lovely part of Germany. And I have to say, the scene is set for a fabulous competition here at the Longines Global Champions Tour for this Global Champions League Round 2. A fascinating first round we had here. And I have to say, I think it's all to play for. We may have the Cannes Stars out in front, but the way the course has riding, it is going to be very interesting. Cannes Stars looking to defend their title that they won here in 2024. The Paris Panthers, well, they're not having such a good run. They, unfortunately, are struggling. But for the way it's panning out, with the Cannes Stars in pole position to retain their title here in Riesenbeck, and of course they're having a pretty good season. There's no two ways about it. They're sitting in third, and there is the current overall ranking. Valkenswaard United sitting atop. Shanghai Swans haven't had a great start today. Prague Lions, but as I say, all to play for, with teams in the mix to put themselves with a chance of winning here in Riesenbeck, including the Saint-Tropez Pirates and others, Scandinavian Vikings, also, who are down the bottom, but they could have a chance of going right up the leaderboard if they continue the momentum they have shown, and not only today, but in the last competition as well. So here are the highlights from this morning. First round, Emmanuel Camilli. Well, he was competing earlier for the team that are now sitting for Emmanuel Camilli, competing for the Riesenbeck International. They've got 8 with a time of 142.64, and also competing with them was Christian Kuckuck, but they had 8. And the Cannes Stars, well, what a good day it was for them, and also, in most notably, for Jana Friedrich Meyer-Zimmermann on Iron Dames Just a Dream. She had that plank down, but she regrouped after a great round from her teammate Katrin Eckermann, and looking on, and that ensured they're at the top. Valkenswaard United, well, let's see what they can do. This was Hans-Dieter Dreher. He had 4 faults on his horse, Westmaler des Kotz, after Marcus Enning went clear for his team. And that fence down means that they finished with a time of 144.86 and in second spot. And Scandinavian Vikings, well, they went well. They are third after this round 1 with Jurg Vreiling. Good round from Neil Fearon, who went clear on Kepdale de Talma. But Jurg Vreiling with 5 faults, 1 time fault, meant that they're in 3. What about the Shanghai Swans? Well, it wasn't really their great day. They're in 10th place for the Shanghai Swans. Christian Allman and Max Kuhner, their first line riders. And as I say, it didn't really work for them. And Christian Allman with 8 faults and a rueful shake of the head, thinking, what's gone on here? And Max Kuhner, well, he had a fence down, so that's why they are down in mid-div. But they've got 12 faults, and I just think that might be a bit of a problem to make up the ground with so many teams in front of them. But if any team can have double clear, it could be them, because it's Marcus Enning and Hans-Dieter Dreher who will be riding for Valkenswaard United. But for Shanghai Swans, they've got Katharina Romberg and Max Kuhner coming forward. So it'll be very interesting to see how they get on. With New York Empire first up, it didn't go well for Dennis Lynch early on, and he will be first into the arena. And he will be riding the horse that caused him a few problems. Nespresso van Lakehoff again Michael Pender is riding and here is the way it is shaped up after round 1, this leg of 16. Confirm where everyone is. And as I say, those 4 teams on 8 faults, I think, could, if any of them have double clear, you could find yourself in podium position and maybe even better. But once we get to this group of teams, maybe a harder shout. Shanghai Swans may be a little off the pace. It's an awful lot of ground to make up. So that's why I think we really are in for a fascinating course. And if you're just joining us and have seen the individual, I haven't seen the individuals who've just gone before. This is not a straightforward course. It doesn't seem to be an obvious sort of easy bit, judging by the way it was riding first up. But let's take a look at it from the start. Kicks off with a fence here at 155 and then sweeping run to this Longines fence, which is a 150 with a 160 spread, and then a loop back to an upright that is 160, and then through to the combination, coming up quite quickly in it. And the way it works is a 2-stride between A and B, 160 spread on that first part, and then over that for a 2 strides, and then an upright at 155, and then 1 stride out through the final part, 153, 150 spread. So, well, you think it's going to be easy. We are seeing riders knocking that final part of the combination down. Then a loop back to the next fence, which has a spread of 160, fence 5, and then the wall coming in the middle of the arena, which is at 160. A couple of riders have had problems there already, so not to be taken lightly. Head to a 160 spread, and then to the double near the hospitality area coming up. So one rider refused coming into it. 160 at both parts, 1 strides. Then to this next fence, the rustic flower, inviting, but with a spread of 2 meters, but it hasn't been causing anyone problems. This next fence, though, has, with 6 strides and this water tray, height of 158, has caught 1 or 2 out, so you can't afford to be easing off coming into that. Then turn to 11, 150, 160 again, heading back to the Swan fence with just 1 more to go, that height at 160, and then the finish fence, the Longines fence to finish. And then we're looking at a time, most times the clear time's around about 77 seconds. The time allowed is 84 seconds. So not really causing any problems. There is our course designer, Frank Rothenberger, who's set such a wily operator, working with the conditions. And here's the starting order. We kick off with the New York Empire and Dennis Lynch and Michael Pender. Michael Pender riding HHS Los Angeles in this second round, had 4 faults in the first. Then we have the Paris Panthers. It's going to be a tough ask for their riders riding the same horses. What about the Stockholm Hearts with Malin Bayer-Johnson bringing in H&M India, and the horse that she's so fond of riding, but quirky. Then the Basel Cosmopolitans are next in. They go on 16. Madrid in Motion, Michael van der Vleuten and Kim Emmen representing them in the second round. Michael van der Vleuten coming in, replacing Jack Whittaker, who went clear. Rome Gladiators next up, Peter Fredriksson and the lady from the Dominican Republic, Maria Gabriel Brugal Gasso. Then the Shanghai Swans, Katharina Romberg comes into the team, and Max Kuhner goes again, both riding different horses. Well, Max Kuhner riding a different horse. The Monaco Comets were first to go, but they did all right, and who's to say that they won't find themselves in a decent position with 12 faults. The Prague Lions, well, they've got 8 faults, and I think it's from here on in that you could be seeing teams, if they can go double clear, the Saint-Tropez Pirates, Max Watchman and Duarte Seabra. Then also the Riesenbeck International, Max Weissart coming in for the team, Christian Kukuk on home soil. The Istanbul Warriors with Simon Delestre and Henrik von Eckermann, who spent a lot of time here. He's riding Steely Dan. Then the Scandinavian Vikings, looking to build on what was such a good start. Neil Fearon and Hugh Vreiling. Then the Valkenswaard United towards the end. And then finally, it is the Cannes Stars trying to hold on and win back-to-back. And it is the job of Katrin Eckermann and Jana Fredrik Meyer Zimmermann to hold off all comers here in Riesenbeck under lovely sunny skies, well, clear blue skies now. So after an unsettled start to the day, now we can settle down for what should be an intriguing competition here. For New York Empire, it's playing for pride, you would have to say. Dennis Lynch is going to go first on the horse that he rode before. It just didn't work out for him and Espresso Vance to like off this 12-year-old. So he'll be hoping, having gone clear in the speed class, a relatively new ride for Dennis. But getting ready, and here he goes. What can he do? And show the way for the other teams what is possible. You just joined us. There were 4 clear from 19 rounds in the individual qualifying section, and this competition also has that qualifying element to the Grand Prix. But the middle part down there for Dennis, that coming at 155, that B element. Takes the wall well. Now to the double at 8, A and B. Round to this big spread. Cup, that pole was nice. Lead to him, but not there, brushing that down. So we're up to 8 now for Dennis. So not been the day Dennis would have been hoping for. Coming to the final fence, this Longines fence, and it stays intact. So 8. So an improvement on this morning, but a couple of fences down, and 8 there. They're playing for pride. But Michael Pender had a pretty good round on Madeleine Louis early on, but now he's riding HSS Los Angeles, 11-year-old, and has jumped in Monte Carlo, went clear at 160, but it's playing for pride here for the New York Empire. Big week for them next week, of course, when they'll be competing on home soil, and they'll be out to impress the New York crowd. So the young Irishman, another round that he put in the first round on the 8-year-old was a very impressive one, and an exciting prospect, no doubt, for Michael Pender. But what can he do here? Yes, obviously thinking of making sure tomorrow, so a clear round will be good. Nicely through the treble, back to 5. Going well so far. Supposed to be an inviting fence, but it would just have to check into that. Now making sure he's quick here, showing what is possible. Michael Pender coming in for what has been a very good day, a good time too, and that is very definitely the quickest time of this competition, 72.78 clear. That shows what's possible, because he didn't look as if he was going very quick, but he ate up the ground, and a good day for Michael Pender. Not quite for the team, but a clear round nonetheless has just given a little boost to the New York.
An outstanding clear for Michael Pender, showing indeed that the second round is conquerable. He's automatically into the Longines Global Champions Tour Grand Prix tomorrow. Who then is going to follow him with good scores here tonight, but of course to help their team in the GCL onto the podium? We'll find out. Unfortunately for Dennis Lynch, 2 fences falling, and because of that heavy first round, they find themselves on 42 penalties. They will not feature, of course, anywhere near the top of the leaderboard here in Riesenbeck. Paris Panthers are the new team in. They are fighting for survival, fighting for a GCL Super Cup quarterfinal place. If you want to come see what happens in Riesenbeck for the rest of the afternoon, sign up for a GCTV Live Pass and come see what's happening here in Riesenbeck.